Other said, not a single person from the Sahaba ever said Allah exists without a place. How dare you say Allah exists without a place? Well, also, they didn't say he exists with a place either, right? Because if you say that, you actually are putting the onus of the burden of proof is on you to provide a proof that there is a place. And what is that place? What is the name of that place? Is it God? Is it God's home then, if that's what you're saying? So let's read these nusus from the Sharia that tells us that the reason why the ulama said, Inna Allah mawjudun bila makan wala zaman. How about the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Kan Allahu wa lam yakun shay'un ghayruh. Allah existed and nothing else existed besides him. Bukhari. Is place a thing? Is time a thing? Is location a thing? Then he existed without it. And he exists now as he exists then, because Allah doesn't change. He has no needs for anything. How about what is the meaning of huwa al-awwal wal-akhir? He is the first and the last. Well, one of the meanings, the valid and sound meanings of that, is it means that before anything existed, Allah existed with all of his attributes. And after everything perishes, Allah will exist with all of his attributes and nothing lost. I mean, for us, if our stuff, if we lose it, we decrease, right? And if we gain it, we increase. Huwa al-awwal wal-akhir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, before all the creation, all this creation, as massive as we imagine it to be, 7 heavens, paradise and hell, before all of this existed, he existed and there was nothing with him. And after all of it will perish. As we know, every single living thing will perish. Even Malak al-Maut himself, Allah says, Mut ya Malak al-Maut. Angel of death, Allah says, die. And he dies. There will be not a single living soul or organism. Will Allah have lost anything? Will Allah have changed? Nothing. Huwa al-awwal wal-akhir. So therefore he exists before the arsh, before the throne of Allah Ta'ala. Throne of Allah Ta'ala, Allah has attributed it to himself to honor it, to show us how great and massive this is and what a great creation it is. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِن رُوحِي, I blew in him from my ruh, my spirit. Does Allah have a ruh, a spirit? No. The answer is he owns it. Well, Allah owns everything, yes, but when he attributes ownership to himself, it is a way to honor that thing. So the ruh is honored because Allah says, Ruhi, the one that I own, I created. And ulama says the same of the arsh. Allah says in the Quran, Allahu Samad. And Allah says, Wallahu al-Ghani. Allah is the absolute independent of any needs and everything needs him. Clearly, anything in a space has a need for that space, right? And everything that is in a space is dependent upon that space, whether it wants to be or not. So therefore, if Allah is ever without need, then he would not be in a space, in a location. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, أنت الظاهر فليس فوقك شيء وأنت الباطن فليس دونك شيء. Sahih Muslim. It's a beautiful dua. It's actually about debt. اقضي عني الدين. Fulfill my debts. But the line that's important here, أنت الباطن فليس دونك شيء. You are the batin. You are the not apparent, inwardly hidden. Or hidden, we can say. Yes, because some aspect of Allah is hidden to us. We don't see him now. We see him inshallah in the akhirah without direction or physicality. Dunaka means beneath. So if there is nothing above him, nothing below him, then he exists without a place. Who said that? Bayhaqi quotes those who have said that. Imam al-Bayhaqi. Someone may say, all right, why are you taking the literal meaning of dunaka here? It's because we always go to the literal meaning first, unless a muhkam verse, muhkam is an explicit verse, would tell us otherwise. If a muhkam verse is saying one thing, and then a mutashabih, a verse that's from the mutashabihat, that unclear verses, is saying what seems to be the opposite, then we say that it's definitely not that meaning. It's not that apparent meaning. So here, laysa dunaka shay, there's nothing muhkam that is contradicting, right? Or that is apparently opposing. So the apparent meaning here is acceptable to us. If that apparent meaning was opposing a muhkam verse, then yes, we would say we will go to another meaning, or we will leave it completely. Tafweed or ta'wil. Talib Razi saying a good point. He said those who took above literally, here they have to take below metaphorically, right? So we say, what is your miqdar, what is your dabit here? What's your standard? The standard is clear. If a mutashabih verse, the apparent meaning of the mutashabih will seemingly contradict or contradict directly a muhkam, then we do tanzih. We sarf al-ma'na an dhahirihi. We say the meaning is definitely not this outward meaning. Okay. We establish the text as it is a text from Allah, 100%. We believe in it. But we say that this possible meaning is not what Allah intended. Why? Because Allah Himself told us elsewhere. Told us something else elsewhere.